live to the Queensland Premier David Crisafulli in Townsville.
A few hundred people from the south. Their work, in conjunction with a really dedicated local team, has been, quite frankly, incredible. And the job's not done yet. We've still got some people without power in some key locations, but I assure people that that will certainly occur. Garoo, and your local MP's here today as well, in the form of Dale Last, remains some water supply issues. There's also some issues around road connectivity. The people of Garoo, they know how to handle floods. This was a big one, and we have to do all we can to make sure that that water supply is there. Likewise in Cardwell, and it's my intention to try to get to Cardwell as soon as I can to see firsthand what has unfolded there. There's quite a number of homes that have been inundated, and a beautiful community that's been severely impacted, and we want them to know that they will not be forgotten. I just want to turn briefly to roads. There are a number of roads that remain out of action, and there's a number of roads that remain covered by water. Unless you absolutely have to be, I would really give the message not to be on the roads. The roads are there for those essential service providers. Now, of course, if you're in an area and you can safely get to and from work, absolutely. But if you're in those key areas where flooding continues, please be careful. I want to make a reflection on the state of the Bruce Highway and redouble our commitment to do something about it. We have worked well in a short period of time to develop the plan that road needs. We have secured a commitment from Canberra of 80-20 funding, which is going to be the injection of cash that's needed. And I can assure you we will use every focus that comes from a disaster to ensure that we don't rebuild the same bit of infrastructure to the same standard, at the same location, and expect a different result. And we're determined to build betterment into all that we do. Disasters will strike, and communities understand that, but there's no point continuing to do the same thing and expecting a different result. And the damage at Olera Creek provides a big opportunity to do that, and I'll be having more to say. A couple of things now. Re the clean-up. Ultimately, the first thing we want to see is neighbours pitching in and helping neighbours, and we've already had a glimpse of that, both in the rescue effort, but indeed some of the early scenes that are coming from North and far North Queensland. That's what Queenslanders do, and we'll expect that to continue, no doubt. If you know someone who's vulnerable, who's been hit hard, please pitch in and help them. That would be the best way that we can recover and get back on our feet. Now, of course, help will arrive. And I was just speaking to the SES a moment ago. There's interstate crews who are also looking to mobilise and come here shortly. There are SES crews from throughout Queensland who are here. You've got amazing individual SES teams. They'll be there for you. But ultimately, if you can help a neighbour, that's the best thing possible. There is a hotline, 132 500, if you want to register damage at your place. But as I say, if the Queensland spirit can shine through first and foremost, that'll be excellent. On the health situation, when you're cleaning up, please take all the precautions. We've had the Health Minister on our calls, our disaster calls, to make sure that all the hospitals are there to be able to provide some of the key services for people. We want to make sure that we don't have people going in there because of infections and diseases. It is a dangerous time. To the grants situation, residents would be aware that we have stood up 2 community hubs here in Townsville. Our attention will definitely now focus on the Burdekin, Hinchinbrook and Cassowary Coast, and we will be mobilising there as soon as we possibly can to make sure that there is that one-stop shop for people to be able to get the help they need. The Minister will explain a little more about what the federal government's been doing, and Minister, we really welcome you being on the ground here. We really do, and joining local MP Phil Thompson. We're most grateful for that. Thank you very much. If you need help, you can obviously go into those centres if you're here in Townsville. You can phone 1800 173 349. That's a 24-hour hotline, or you can visit the government's website, which is www.qld.gov.au/disaster help. So that's the Queensland Government's main website with disaster help. So insurance. We have asked the insurers to get in on the ground, and a message to them: thanks for being on the ground, and we want to work with you, and we want you to work with the community. And people have been hit pretty hard, and we don't want them to be put through the ringer a second time. So we'd welcome those payments to flow to impacted people really quickly so they can get back rebuilding their lives. Finally, before I hand over to the Minister, just a message to all of Queensland, and particularly people of this part of the world. You are a very, very resilient group of people, but resilience doesn't mean you should be left on your own. And that's why I'm here, and that's why we're all here. And I can assure you we are going to be here. And I'm here to make sure that the things that are promised to be delivered will be delivered. And I intend to see that through. And I won't be going back to Brisbane until I've had the chance to be on the ground in places like Ingham and Cardwell. And I want this community to know we will keep coming back until the job is done. Over to you, Minister.
Well, thank you very much, Premier. It is great to be here with you. Thank you for your welcome. Thank you also to your team and to Phil Thompson, who's kept me in the loop about what is going on the ground in recent days, and I've really appreciated that, Phil, very much. It has been an incredibly difficult couple of days for people in the north and far north. We understand how significant it is when big events like this happen in communities. We have been determined to work hand in glove with the Queensland Government to make sure that communities here have what they need. As the Premier indicated, this is still a very difficult situation. It is an ongoing emergency. We are not out of the woods yet in many communities. But even while we manage this emergency, our thoughts do need to return to recovery. And so my purpose here in being on the ground, and I'll be here for quite a number of days, is to meet with as many people in community as I can, so that I understand what is required in this continuing situation, but also so that I understand what might be required through the recovery. And I'll add to the Premier's remarks about recovery. Recovery isn't something that starts tomorrow and then ends after a week. For many communities after a big event, it takes a lot to get that community back on its feet financially, psychologically, physically. We are here for the long haul. We've made a number of commitments in recent days to support the Queensland Government. They lead in responding to these circumstances, but we want to be good partners to them. We've been able, of course, we've seen the ADF out on the streets in Townsville supporting the evacuation efforts. In response to a request from Queensland, we have mobilised ADF support, particularly helicopter support. That will be critical, as the Premier has indicated, in resupplying those communities that remain isolated. We have had for a number of days one of the National Aerial Fleet positioned in the north, and they have been tasked to assist by emergency services here in the north. And working with Minister Ley, we've been able to stand up payments and supports to help the community. We have seen the impact of this enormous amount of water in North Queensland and far North Queensland on communities. We've all seen the photos. But what that really means is a personal impact for people in homes and communities who've been affected. And so we've worked really quickly with the Queensland Government to stand up hardship payments. The Premier stepped through how people can access those. We remain ready to work with the Queensland Government as more information emerges about impacts in different communities to deepen and extend that support. Finally, I just want to say this. People have worked together in amazing ways. All of our first responders have been incredible. Our emergency personnel, our energy workers, our comms, telecom workers, our ADF personnel, volunteers, neighbours helping neighbours. Communities have listened to directions that have been provided to them by emergency services personnel. We ask that you continue to do that. There are ongoing risks in this landscape. We are not out of this yet. It is really important that you listen to advice, that you keep yourself safe, and we all get through this together. Thank you.